This is Entrepreneurs Get Visible, the podcast for people who want more impact, influence, and income. I'm Anna Parker-Naples, and I'll be sharing with you proven methods from leading entrepreneurs that help you get visible as an authority in your field. Because anything's possible when you get visible. So we are live on Facebook, and I am today joined by the wonderful JoJo Graham. And we wanted to come on really because we've had quite a week, JoJo and I. So JoJo this week was the very first member of the podcast membership to go live out of the door to get her podcast out there. And I'm going to hand over to JoJo so she can tell you a little bit about the success that we've had this week. So hey, JoJo.
Hello, everybody. How are you all today? I can't even believe that I'm sat here and I can even say that I've got a podcast, let alone say that I've got a #1 ranking podcast internationally, which is just insane. It's been like a whirlwind 10 days, I think it's been, from the moment that I was like, right, I'm doing this, to it actually being #1 internationally ranked podcast. So yeah, I'd like to say that sometimes I'm thinking like, how did this happen? Like, it's insane. But then actually, when I think about it, the strategy that's been behind it and the support that I've had from Anna has made it possible and has made it so yeah, super grateful and excited.
So what happened was, when you launch a podcast, you don't know in iTunes when it's going to go live. So we kind of knew we had this 24-hour, 7-day window that it could, and we were waiting for JoJo to get an email. When it happened for me, it went into my junk mail. So I kept saying, check your junk mail. We became like junkies, just checking, have you done it, have you not? And then we realised that actually it had gone live on iTunes. It was really early, wasn't it? I don't even know what day it was. Sunday morning.
It might have been like Saturday night, Sunday morning, because like I was checking my emails like literally all the time. I was refreshing it. I was going into my junk, and even to this day, nothing came through. So I wouldn't have known. And it wasn't until you messaged me on Sunday morning saying your podcast has gone live, it popped up on my phone. And it was Sunday morning, so I was just chilling. I was watching a bit of Netflix in bed. Like, I was literally going to have a day off. And I obviously sat upright. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. I need to start promoting. I need to start getting this into the ears of as many people as possible. And then I was just on it. Everyone knew about it. I emailed my list. I got into my groups. I went live that evening. And was it that day that I got into the top? I was like 33. I ranked 30.
Yeah, so you got into the charts that day at number 33. So this is the thing with the podcast launch. The tricky thing is you don't know exactly what day it's going to happen or what time it's going to happen. But when you know it's gone live, you have to act there. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep driving people, driving action, subscribe, rate and reviews, getting people to just listen, download, taking action. Because the more action you can get on day 1 and then day 2 and then day 3, the better your podcast is going to do. So we saw JoJo's podcast rising. And actually what was really exciting was that the next morning, so Monday morning, when lots and lots of other podcasters are releasing their shows, and most people on a Monday morning are going to their phones to iTunes to check which shows they're going to listen to. Well, we woke up to find that JoJo's show was being promoted as a top show in business and in new shows. So basically then iTunes are doing a lot of the work for you.
Which is why it's so important that you do have that momentum behind it. Now, if I didn't work with you, I wouldn't have known how important it was to have the episodes listened to, people rating them, reviewing them, subscribing, like all the things. So I was reaching out to everyone in my network, all of my friends, all like just everyone that I knew, even my dad. I was like, Dad, this is what you need to do. And he's like, I don't get it. I was like,
you don't have to, just give me a review.
And because of that momentum, what does it do? It like kicks off an algorithm or something. So like basically iTunes knows that, you know, this is going to be a popular podcast. We are going to start pushing this out, and it obviously helps you move up the charts. And yeah, really supported me. So I was #2 in the marketing category for Great Britain, which is just amazing.
I just want to say that's not just marketing in the UK. What that is you being positioned above people like, you know, Amy Porterfield and Rachel Hollis and all sorts of amazing podcasts, international podcasts, like these superstar American women. You're up there, and that's quite an amazing feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, like really amazing. So yeah, it is like all the podcasts that exist around the world, but the ones that I listen to in the UK. And then yesterday we saw that I'm ranking at #1 in the UAE, which is just incredible. And I've just been to Dubai, so I was like, this is a sign or something. So,
yeah, maybe you're supposed to.
Yeah, so it's been really, really exciting, and because of the momentum and because of how well received it's been and the support that I've had, not just from my followers but from you and everyone else, it's really given me that push to continue and to be consistent. So I'm excited to record my podcasts each week. I thought I was going to do one a week, but now I think I might do 2. I'm a bit undecided, but I think we'll probably be discussing the strategy moving forward. Yeah, but, I launched with 3 episodes. Since then, I put another episode out. So there's 4 on there. I've got another one coming out Sunday. So that, within a week, I've got 5 episodes and it's just flying. So yeah, I think you just need to go all in with it.
And I think actually, people kind of think, oh, I don't want to do a podcast because everyone's podcasting right now. And as I talk about inside the membership, that is not the case. So I read a stat the other day that there are 610 million blogs live. There are 31 million consistent YouTubers, and there are less than 1 million podcasts worldwide. In fact, there's about 908,000 live shows worldwide. So when you break that down into categories, when you break that down into niche business things or whatever, you actually don't have that much competition. And to be able to enter an international market alongside incredible business superstars, the only other way you can do this is with a book. There is no other way that you can leverage that reach so quickly, and it's powerful proof, isn't it?
Yeah.
So one of the things, obviously we've talked about that you decided, right, I've talked about doing podcasts for long enough. What I would say, because generally I wouldn't advise someone to do it in such a short period of time, but with you had talked about podcasting to your audience long enough that people already knew it was coming. You'd already put artwork out there, because I think that's an important thing, is that you do have to seed your audience. You do have to prep your audience, your followers, your connections, that I've got something coming. And I think if you hadn't done that, we might have found it slightly harder to bring everybody on board.
Yeah, it would have been like, oh, that's random. You're launching a podcast. But God, this has been going on for too long. So I think it might have been the beginning of last year. I wanted to launch my podcast and I had different artwork to what I've got now. Didn't happen. What held me back was the tech, the strategy, not knowing what to do. So I just put it off and not really seeing the return on investment that I could get from it. And then I made it as a goal again. Then at the end of, on New Year's Eve, I set it as a goal to launch it on my birthday, which was the 1st of February. And I was mid-launch with something else and I hadn't got things together. And I was like, I'm just not doing it. I'm going to put it off. And I've even got it still on my whiteboard above me where I was going to launch it in May. I was like, right, I'm just going to forget about it till May. And then I decided, right, no, actually, do you know what? Enough is enough. This is something that is going to support me. I just need to bloody do it. And when I think about it, I'm so glad that I did wait, because I wouldn't have worked with you. I probably wouldn't have had the strategy and I wouldn't have had the success that I've had with it if I didn't have your support. Because honestly, and I've told you this so many times, that membership and your knowledge is worth its weight in gold. And I would not have seen the success that I did with this podcast if it wasn't for you. And that's why I'm so glad that I did kind of wait. But if anyone is watching this right now, don't wait until next year, or when there might be more competition in the space. Now is the best.
There will absolutely be more competition in the space, absolutely, hands down. In fact, over the last just 3 months alone, there have been 180,000 new shows go live across the world, and that is only going to increase. And both JoJo and I have been blessed with these amazing launches that I have to say, we have both worked our socks off for our podcast to achieve what they have. Yeah. But once you've done that for your show, you always have that, right? And your show is always going to rank higher because you've had that a massive drive, and because iTunes have promoted you in our new shows, top charts, all of the other categories that you can be promoted in. If you don't get your launch right, if you don't put the energy into it, and even JoJo, so even though you're experienced at launching products and services and whatever else, I think you were a little bit surprised at how much I was saying, no, you need to post, you need to get action.
Yeah, and I haven't been that active in a launch mode for I can't even remember, and I really enjoyed it, because launching for me I find quite exhausting. But I think because there was so much adrenaline and there was such a short window to get this just out there and done, it really drove me, and it really just made me think, right, I just got to keep going. I got to keep going, and it is exhausting, but it was worth it. And like you said, we put the work in.
But I think it is exhausting if you're going to do a launch properly and you're serious about podcasting to grow your reach, to grow your influence, to grow your impact, to later on grow your income come when you understand how to do that. Audience and value has to come first. Positioning has to come first. When you understand that, then it's absolutely worth going at a podcast launch hard and fast and getting those amazing, incredible results, because that's how you're going to drive audience figures. But also, it's harder. Once you've got a show launched, it's much harder then to get back up. That is harder. But it is an incredible rush, like to see yourself, because I've done this very recently as well, to see yourself alongside your superhero.
People that I've been listening to for like so long, if I'm like, where can I get some inspiration? I'll just put on a Jenna Kutcher podcast. I'll put on an Amy Porterfield podcast. And then my face is next to them. I'm like, what's going on? It's bizarre. But then it does make you realize that like you are no different to all of these other people. They've just been doing it a little bit longer and they've just built up a bigger audience. And if I'm consistent with this, and I say if, because I know I'm going to be consistent, in like, say, 3 years' time, when I have built this really solid audience and I've got all of these amazing audios and interviews and things on my podcast, then I'll be exactly where they are. And that's my intention. I'm really going to be going for this and making sure that I am up there with them.
Well, I'll be there with you, my darling.
Maybe like number 1 and number 2.
So what's exciting, we don't have all the full metrics for JoJo's show yet, but like my podcast now is listened to in 72 countries. I actually hit number 1 in Bulgaria yesterday. Why Bulgaria? I have no idea. But when you see people listening across the world, across America, when you can see which states prefer your work to somewhere else, when you can see like that there's patches in Europe where they're avid listeners, it's really exciting because you think like my work has that impact. I have that capability as a leader, not just to be in this online Facebook space, but to be everywhere. I have that ability to have that influence. Mm-hmm. And if you've got an online business of any type, or if you're a speaker, or if you are a writer or a potential author, you want your expertise to be out there. And I think that podcasting right now, not in 2 years' time, right now is the place you can carve that expertise. Mm-hmm. So we've had one hell of a week, to be honest.
Yeah. And I love what you said about like how there are like so many different places around the world that you can see where you are more popular and you are ranking high. And it just makes you realize that there is so much impact that you can make that you don't even realize. There's going to be someone randomly listening to you in their home office somewhere, and you'll be really inspiring them to do something. And you won't have a clue who they are unless they reach out and leave a review. But I think this is just the power. If people are truly wanting to make an impact, then this would be the way to go. And I'm not just saying that because we're having this conversation. It's what I truly believe in.
So Jojo, if you hadn't had support, if you hadn't had someone that you could turn to who knew how to launch as well, what do you think would have happened in terms of your podcast? How much longer would it have taken you to get out there? And what results do you think you might have got?
So first of all, it probably wouldn't have launched until maybe the summer, if not the end of the year, if not next year. It would have happened eventually. I probably would have launched it. There wouldn't have been excitement behind it because I wouldn't have been quite sure what I was doing. I wouldn't have had the push to kind of keep going when I was feeling tired. Like there was a time where I was like, do you know what? I'm tired now. I'm happy with
At one point you said to me, so this is interesting, I'm going to bring this up. At one point you said to me, I've got something I need to sell. And I was like, no, because this is now, because this might be never again. And if the higher we can get you, the better your show will do, which means everything else for your business is better. And I think that quite surprised you when I was like...
Yeah, and I was like, right, okay. And I'm the type of person that if someone tells me to do something who I know is an expert in that space, I'll just do what I'm told. So I was like, right, okay, Anna is right, I'm going to just do it. So I wouldn't have had that encouragement when I was feeling like, okay, I'm happy with this now. And it probably, I don't know if the word would be flopped, because I don't think it would have been a flop, but it would have been a lot more of like a harder slog to get people to listen to it and get it into the ears of the people that want to listen to. And also what's been really invaluable with this whole thing is not just your support, but the membership that you've got. There are like just over 100 people in there now who are all gunning for it with you, and they're all reviewing, rating. And I think what's really important about what you've created, and I'm not sure if this was something that was intentional, but you've also built up this asset of people who can also help drive the numbers and the reviews and the rates and things like that, which was just invaluable as well, because I had a whole other audience.
Other people in that membership get that it's important to you. And when you've got that community that understand, right, if I help, if, you know, I pat their, it's reciprocal behaviour. JoJo is going to be very aware of the members in my group who did take action and told her they'd taken action. She's going to look out to support them, because that is the way the world works. That's how human psychology works.
Yeah.
And actually, I think knowing that, you know how important it is to somebody else's launch as well, and you want to help them back because you get what it's all about. And I think, you know, I was aware that there was that potential, but actually seeing that in action has been quite special. I get a bit tingly.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And obviously I went in and I was like, right guys, you know, I'm launching, and being the first one out the doors as well, I could see how inspired the rest of the group got too. They were like, oh, like someone's doing it, someone's got out there, we got great results, and now they're like, right, okay, let's get my artwork done, let's get my listing created, all of that kind of stuff.
I think within a week we're going to have had 10 people out the door now, so it's going to be, I'm going to be tracking left, right and centre who's doing what. But that support network really does help, doesn't it, to kind of G you up as well, and say, and just get that feedback too. So anyway, we're going to wrap up now, but I just want to say amazingly well done. So JoJo, let everyone who's listening, who's watching, that doesn't know about your podcast, what they have to do to help you climb even higher in the UK chart.
Okay, so the podcast is called The Simple Way Podcast. And on this podcast, I talk about everything business and life, keeping things simple. So it's probably going to be for the majority of Anna's audience and the majority of you watching this. So what you can do, and I've said this so many times over the last few days, go and listen to all of the episodes if you can. They are starting to build up now. All of the episodes, subscribe, rate, review, and download, and you will support me with ranking up the charts as well. So yeah, that's what you can do for me, and it's a small ask, but I'd be so grateful.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on today, JoJo, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's just keep rocking that podcast world, because you know what, I think the British women are coming to own that space internationally.
I think so too.
Great.
Thank you for listening to Entrepreneurs Get Visible. To get your free checklist on how to raise your profile and to find out about our community, go to annaparkernaples.co.uk/get visible.